ja bih se zahvalila Ingi na uvodu i samo prije nego što počnem imam pitanje, jeste možda pogledali one materijale koje sam poslala o Tomu Gotovcu?
Ja jesam. I te materijale i onaj drugi, kao, mislim, rad.
I onaj video sa...
Da. I onaj video i ono sa informatizmom, ako se to tako kaže, na trgu.
Da, kaže se.
Da, okej.
Mislim, ja sam oba dva primjera izabrala zato što su nekako je performance s jedne strane, s druge strane Tom Gotovac je stvarno legenda hrvatskog performansa i jedan od utemeljitelja performansa u Hrvatskoj. I jako mi je bilo zanimljivo zapravo kako se mijenja kako se reprezentacija i umjetničko djelo interpretira na različite načine kada se mijenja performer i kako se zapravo dolazi do promjene značenja i do učitavanja nekih novih značenja kada dolazi drugi performer. S druge strane, mislim da je to jako dobar primjer za umjetnost u javnom prostoru. S tim da je možda malo bitno ukratko reći u kontekstu kada je Tomislav Gotovac izveo taj performans. Tomislav Gotovac je izveo performans 1994. Znači to je toku rata u Hrvatskoj. Izabrao je naravno specifičnu zgradu koju je Nina Kamenjan izabrala. Dom hrvatskih likovnih umjetnika koje je inače projektirao Meštrović i izgradio je u razdoblju od 1936. do 1938. U tom performansu koji je Tomislav Gotovac izveo 1994. On u materijalima o tom radu ističe da se inspirirao filmom koji isto nosi naziv Straža na Rajni, koji je snimljen 1943. U Americi i taj film kada je prikazivan u Americi zapravo je želio, ima je političku notu i želio je Amerikancima i američkoj publici prikazati opasnost od nacizma. Mislim da unutar performansa isto tako je bitno da je on bio u kontrapostu, stajao na vrhu zgrade likovnih HDLU-a i zapravo nekako samim tim stavom i pogledom u daljinu stražario nad događajima koji su se događali. Kasnije, nakon njegovog performansa, isti rad kao omažu je izvela Kamenjanin, s tim da je taj drugi rad bio u kontekstu toga što je 2020. Hrvatska predsjedala Europskom unijom i udruga Domino koja se bavi i gender programima, ali i izvedbenim umjetnostima je zapravo dogovorila sa Ninom da napravi nešto u sklopu hrvatskog predsjedanja Europskom unijom. I taj cijeli njihov sklop projekta se zvao Budućnost političkog performansa. I onda je prvo Nina došla na ideju da napravi omaž Tomu Gotovcu i naravno istraživala je prvotni performans od Toma Gotovca i onda se odlučila da napravi svojevrsni react istog tog performansa. Nakon toga se dogodio skandal o kojem ja nisam znala ništa dok me Tomislav zapravo nije obavijestio. Da je udruga Domino potom, ja mislim par godina poslije, angažirala drugu performericu da izvede treći put isti taj rad od Toma Gotovca. I onda su se razvile različite rasprave što je originalno djelo, ko zapravo ima pravo na izvedbu, ko je pravi autor performansa, da li kada se performans ponovno izvodi autor i onaj prvi i ovaj koji ga ponovno izvodi. Mislim da to otvara sad široki niz pitanja za raspravu zapravo.
Dobro. Ja bi sad pitala Tomislava jer je rekao da bi se on na neki način uključio u tu diskusiju.
Ma da, zapravo čisto ono, mi smo počeli taj razgovor o prostoru, ne, zato što taj prostor na neki način proizlazi iz naše glavne teme, ne, taj emergency exit, znači izlazak, ne, izlaz iz nečega. Naravno, taj izlaz implicira da mi negdje jesmo, ne, i onda je kroz razgovor, evo i ova naša kolegica Nina, ne, studentica, zapravo formulirala tu neku problematiku koja se meni dosta zanima, ne, a to je to kretanje tog tijela, to jest interes, ja bih rekao, sistema prema tijelu, to jest prema umu, ne, u zadnje vrijeme. Evo, i u tom nekom kontekstu bi sad par stvari rekao. Ovo što je sada Dijana rekla je super komplicirana priča, jer se pojavlja pitanje ko je zapravo autor te ideje reenactmenta, to jest tog ponovno izvođenja tog performansa. Ne, naravno da je Tom Gotovac napravio izvorni, ali prema toj komunikaciji nije jasno da li je ona pozvana izvesti taj performans, ne, ili je ona došla s idejom da izvedete performans. Domino tvrdi da su oni nju pozvali baš da izvedete performans, ona tvrdi da ona imala neke ideje. Uglavnom, Domino smatra da oni mogu angažirati koga hoće, da izvedete taj performans ponovno, to jest da umjetnici nisu vlasnici performansa, jer to je kao opće dobro, to je Tom Gotovac izveo, pa svako ko izvodi nije dužan navoditi sve one koji su to izveli prije njega, ne? Kao što recimo volim Zagreb, tako bar oni kažu, su izveli mnogi, a nisu se stalno referirali na one koji su izveli prije njega. Uglavnom, jedno prilično komplicirano pitanje, pa meni možda čak i nebitno, ne? Jer pitanje je zapravo što sa svime time, ne? Koliko taj performans uopće relevantan u prostoru u kojem nastaje, to jest ako se umjetnici svađaju oko autorstva, ako se svađaju oko tog nekog potpisa svima tamo, mislim gdje je ta ona krajnja ideja u biti pokretanje društva i tako dalje, nekih promjena i da li su one uopće moguće. Znači, to je neka širi kontekst. Evo, ja bih samo sad share screen da vam pokažem jedan sličan primjer koji je nedavno, mislim, Darko Šimičić šerao. U biti, za tu umjetnicu sam znao, ali evo, nije mi odmah palo na pamet. Ako mogu, da mogu. A to je ova, kako se zove, samo da nađem, Regina Galindo Tjera, evo. I njezin jedan performans u Guatemali, ako se ne varam, već mi je to otvoreno. Samo malo, evo, to je znači, ja se nadam da vidite ovu fotku, ne?
Vidimo.
Znači, opet to tijelo, ne, u ovom slučaju žensko, pošto je Nina Kamenjan zapravo sama izjavila da je, a i Domino je vjerojatno išao s tom intencijom da umjesto muškarca, to jest muškog tijela, na tom mjestu stoji žensko tijelo, ne, dovodeći zapravo pitanje i taj neki muško-ženski odnos u povijesti umjetnosti gdje je muškarac taj neki koji dominira i tako dalje. Uglavnom, to je jedno pitanje je paralelno postavljeno. Ovdje ona stoji na jednoj livadi gdje bageri oko nje kopaju, u biti na neki način komentira građanski rat, to jest vojnu diktaturu u Guatemali, gdje su se dešavale, kao što se najčešće dešavaju, masovne grobnice, gdje su stradavali i njihovi oponenti, ali i ovi, znači, domorodci, ne, jer Guatemala ima tih prašuma gdje i dalje živi indijanci, znači oni su i te indijanci, recimo indijanci, znači to autohtono stanovništvo, i njih su, znači, vršili genocid i oponente, zatrpavali te masovne grobnice. Evo, i ona sad to svoje tijelo ranjivo, iako ona tvrdi da ona nije ranjivo, da ona zapravo nije ranjiva žena, nego ona ima neki statement ovdje, biti, to je jedan generalno ranjivi čovjek koji stoji u odnosu na tu mašineriju, zapravo neku, ja bih nazvao čak vojnom mašinerijom, to jest ratnom mašinom, kako je zove Paul Virilio, smatrajući zapravo da je ta ratna mašinerija taj neki povijesni motor koji je doveo do ubrzanog razvoja i znanosti, i tehnologije, atomske bombe i svega onoga što ćemo danas svjedočiti. To je jedan od radova koji je mene nekako možda neka, neće suprotnost, ali jedna druga situacija, obično, znači tamo jedan urbani kontekst, taj neki site-specific mjesto koje je ključno u Zagrebu, ta džamija koja je kružna, ima povijest, vremenski kontekst je bitan, kada je taj rat nastao, znači u odnosu na taj rat, u biti Tom Gotovac je bio neki anticipator krize, tako su ga bar zvali, i on je tim radom i drugim zapravo govori o tome kako nas čeka u biti jedna neizvjesna budućnost, da ne kažem da je bio pesimist, i to se pomalo ostvaruje. Znači, to je taj jedan rad. Drugi rad je, znači, taj koji smo spomenuli, Nine Kamenjanin. Inače, ona ima još radova gdje je tijelo u fokusu, i to bi, recimo, preporučio da pogledate. Primjer, tu se sad ne vidi, ali gdje ona stoji na nekom polju, kukuruzištu, i gdje radnici mačetom oko nje čiste, to jest režu taj kukuruz, zapravo i nju ogoljuju, ne? On opet stoji kao neki oponent nekom dramatičnom dešavanju. Evo, to su dvije stvari koje sam iz tog konteksta, ali sad bih htio još samo reći nešto vezano uz taj neki shift koji se po meni dešava, a to je bilo jako dobro formulirano. Postavljeno je bilo pitanje na jednom simpoziju ili susretu Ula i Jana Fabre u Rijeci, znači dva imena onako prilično značajno u području plesa, performansa, kazališta i tako dalje, i onda je tema rasprave bila, znači, crossing the line, redefining boundaries of performance in the 21st century. Znači, kao prelaženje granice i redefiniranje performansa u 21. stoljeću. Ule je reagirao performativno, ne uzeti papir na kojem bi bio kao, on ga je zvao pamflet, pamflet je neki kratki politički program, i onda je nekoliko puta to pitanje performativno čitao. Ne? I onda je na kraju postoji pitanje kao zapravo što je to 21. stoljeće, ne? I što je to granica u performansu. Znači, postavi neka dva ključna pitanja koja se čine kao da su sama po sebi razumljiva iz pitanja, ne? A onda on rekao, gledaj, šta je to 21. stoljeće i šta je to granica performansa, ne? I to pitanje je ostalo otvoreno do kraja, do pitanja slušatelja. Ja sam bio prisutan i nekako sam, ne možeš, a ne reagirati, unutar ti naprosto kuhaš, ne? I rekao sam zapravo da ja smatram da je granica performansa tijelo, a da ga sistem zaobilazi, ne? Znači, zapravo htio sam ukazati na tu novu pojavnost, da sistem, to jest algoritam kojim se on koristi, zaobilazi tijelo. Znači, ta neka revolucija, akcija, otpor, osvajanje ovog zimskog dvorca, tako dalje, nije više efikasno u borbi sa, recimo, kada kažemo sistem, mislimo na neku vlast koja uskraćuje, kontrolira, koja neku slobodu našu dovodi u pitanje, ne, i pokušava je objektivno optimizirati, ne. Ja sam zapravo rekao da taj performans performans više nije relevantan, jer ide sa klasičnom metodom otpora tijelom, ne, a sistem napada ne, što bi rekli mind, ne. Vi imate na Facebooku pitanja, evo tu ću otvoriti, ako idete na onaj homepage, ovdje piše What's on your mind, Tomislav? Ne? Znači, to je jedno benigno pitanje kao kako si, lijepo je vrijeme, tako dalje. Ali u biti on tu pokazuje ključni interes. Znači, algoritam, to je Facebook, te platforme su zainteresirane ono što je nama na umu, jer to onda oni dalje obrađuju, rade analitike i prosljeđuju raznim firmama statistike, projekcija želja, prodaja, sigurnosne provjere. Znači, hrpa toga se dešava iz ovog pitanja, mi toga nismo svjesni. Ako malo odete dublje proučavati problematiku, reći ćete na Šošanu Zubov ili na druge neke mislioce koji su vrlo svjesni, ili recimo ne film The Social Dilemma, ne, socijalna dilema, evo, to je nešto što ću vam poslati link, to sam zaboravio, to je, mislim, na Netflixu ima, znači, socijalna dilema, to se dešava iza te neke pojavnosti, iza tog windova, ne, tog prozora koji djeluje ovako vizualno, zapravo iza toga postoji jedan jedno kopanje po našim podacima. I sad bi išao samo na još zadnja poanta ovog mog ekspozea, ako smijem još reći, je jedan rad od Marine Abramović, koja, evo ga, sad ne znam da li ima smisla to pogledati, mogu im to poslati link, to je 2 minute video, ali evo, samo nadam se da vidite ovu sliku, ja ću preskakati, u biti oni nju proglašavaju prvom umjetnicom koja je, sad ne znam li to istina, nije, može biti da je, ali nisam siguran, koja je izvela performance u tom kao groundbreaking new work u tom nekom digitalnom prostoru. Ja mislim da to naprosto nije istina, ali ok. I što ona radi? Pardon, samo da nađem jednu paradigmatičnu fotku. Evo, znači, sjetimo se one Nine Kamenjanin, sjetimo se ove, kako se zove, Galindo, ne? Jedna stoji na krovu, druga stoji na onoj travi, one se zapravo tijelom u prostoru izražavaju neki svoj bunt, neku svoju recimo političku agendu, poziciju, i sad imate Marinu Abramović koja šta radi? Ona ulazi u metavers, ne? Ona ulazi u taj digitalni prostor, u biti i tu objašnjava u tom videu, ne? Video se zove The Life, život, ono u biti razmišlja o životu nakon smrti, ne? Da ona bude prisutna, ja bih rekao kao neki mesija, ne? Kojem ti dolaziš i s kojim možeš razgovarati, i to ono u kom smjeru se razvija taj digitalni prostor. A kad kažemo digitalni prostor, to nije neki prostor koji je odvojen od ovo naše fizičko. Mi smo svi u digitalnom prostoru, znači mi svi imamo mobitel, mi smo stalno zapravo umom prisutni u tom digitalnom prostoru, tako da ne možemo reći da je to nešto što se dešava mimo nas, nego naprosto mi ćemo biti uvučeni u taj metavers, ne, jer opet to je duga priča, tražimo neku prisutnost, neko zajedništvo, ali ono ne postoji u nekom realnom prostoru i dešava se u ovom digitalnom gdje nam se zapravo nudi neki uljepšeni svijet, ne, gdje možemo biti zapravo ono što želimo. Ne. I tu onda se na to vezuje selfie, vezuje se cijela ta priča tih filtera, naslikavanja, lajkova, znači sve to zapravo dopamini, sve te klikovi i tako dalje, znači sve to zapravo je neki kako se zove, onaj clickbait ili mamac za ulazak u prostor tog metaversa na kojem se sigurno i dalje radi, ako se malo čuje o njemu. Uglavnom, Marina Abramović zapravo, evo tu ću sad reći, tu ću stati, reći samo ono što ja mislim o tome, a to je da svi znamo za onu Adama i Evu, ne, za prvu onu, kad je Evi došla zmija, ne, i rekla, Bog je rekao kao, ako jedeš tog stabla, umrećeš, ne, a zmija, to jest Sotora, otpali anđeo, kaže, ne, nećeš, znači, kad okusiš tog stabla, nećeš umreti. Evo. Yes, Anastasia, sorry, now we are shifting to English. So we were talking about performance, body in the space as a political act, having few examples of the artists from Guatemala, Galindo, a Croatian artist, Tom Gotovac, and Nina Kamenjanin, who were standing on a roof, naked, having a statement, and then this Galindo from Guatemala also having a statement against the system, who was persecuting indigenous people and people who were kind of resisting the system. And then I jumped to this question of the difference between physical and digital space, stating that performance is not relevant anymore in the physical space because the system is not concerned about the body so much anymore, although there is a clash with the body still, but the system is entering the mind. So they are working on mastering the mind, because if you master the mind, then you can also master the body. So we are getting sucked in this surveillance capitalism, and Marina Abramović responded in 2020, I think, in the time of lockdown, because she said, I don't want to make performances because there is no public anymore. So she reacted with this virtual reality performance where she enters this digital metaverse, let's say, a space where she can live even when after she dies. So she's actually talking about eternal life, how to remain alive as an artist even beyond that. So that's my point, that the performance is not relevant anymore in the way it was until now, because now we are encountering a bigger problem, the system who is attacking the mind. So the question is how to respond as an artist to an attack on the mind, how to make a performance using your brain and not your body, or using this digital space. So how to translate all what we do in another media. So this is a quite big area, big question, but we'll continue with it if there will be interest. And now I will leave or let Inge maybe say.
Tomislav, I have just a question before you leave. This performance from Marina Abramovic, it was like mixed reality, but what was like content of performance?
So she's only present. So she continues her idea that the artist is present. So
okay.
I didn't read it, but that's how I read it. But I don't know if you see this video. Maybe the last.
Yes.
You die, the work will never die, because the work of art will continue. In performance, the piece is only in the memory of the audience and nowhere else. Here, I am kept forever.
So maybe it's too short to understand, but she's speaking about the work of art who in performance lasts only when it's done. So performance, there is no material. Okay, there is a video documentation performance, but you can't say this is a performance. The performance happens in the space. So when it's over, and then it continues to live in the public's memory. And now she found a way to be present as a performer forever, and that's why she called it the life. So she's playing with this idea of eternal life and the metaverse. So that's the core idea actually of Meta, Leon Zuckerberg and Facebook shifting to this bigger space where I don't know what's happening now in that area, but I'm sure they're working on it. So if you have any other questions, please.
I have not question, but I would ask you to copy and paste and send on chat this title of this video, or at least a link, so that we can later save and watch it again in peace.
I will send the document with all these links I showed you.
Please.
So,
okay. Yeah. Okay. This I wanted to say. Okay. Thank you, Tomislav. So I will just make one little my own reaction to Diana's and your presentation, or this couple of ideas on performance, and would say I put all the names so that everybody can find by these names more about their work. From my own experience, you mentioned also Ulay, who worked with Marina Abramovic from the beginning of 80s. Although Marina Abramovic I experienced already in 70s in a film festival where they were showing her body art performance. And she was really some of the first body art performers in not only then Yugoslavia, but also in the world. And that's how she continued with the variety of very adventurous performances, where her body was really trained to be in extreme situations where normal people wouldn't be able even to imagine herself or himself. And it's interesting that you were finishing her showing his last work where she's putting herself in metaverse, because actually when you follow her whole life and all performances, it's very much reflecting the time where she was living in. And going back to Tom Godovac, where Diana spoke about again, he is one of also the first personalities who was dealing with the most interesting ideas also from the early 70s. And it would be very good if participants who are here just put their names and look a little bit further in Wikipedia and what is offering in information. You will find quite interesting. You could follow their their performances. So it's interesting that Tomislav put one of the women who was one of the first, and Diana, Serbian actually performer, and Diana Croatian, but actually internationally very important on the end became, of course, Marina more than maybe Tom, but Tom Gotovac is the cult figure in all, and there is even a museum in Zagreb after his death made of his collection, because he was a great collector of very different things, and his whole apartment was full of these collections. So two of them are really important to know about. So I would suggest all the participants really to make your own research for your knowledge. So in that sense, I would now go to Dorothea, who is putting a finger, but maybe Dorothea, who was following us for longer and have a possibility to react also visually. I would ask, Marco is also coming, very nice, sorry. So I would ask Dorothea, do you have any, not only questions, but some your own thoughts about what Tomislav and Diana was already talking about?
Sure. I wanted to mention that I really like Marina Abramovic. I mean, I don't know a lot about her, but I knew from before some of her work, for example, Rhythm Zero. And I really like that not only from the artistic point of view, but also psychological. So yeah, that was really interesting to me. And from the work that you sent to us, like that what I mentioned, suprematism, I don't know, it's really fascinating that still nowadays it's not done and that they do not allow it. And it was really shocking to me to see that. So yeah.
I don't know whether Anastasia, who came later, have some problems of understanding what we were talking about. So please let us know if you have some questions so that we can maybe repeat. And Marco is just came to us, so maybe he even don't know what it's about. So do you have, Anastasia, some questions?
No, I saw the video and I really liked it. I really liked it, and I read about the other guy that was representing kind of. If you can explain that a bit, like was the girl copying the guy, or what was?
Okay, the guy was, his name is Tom Gotovac, and he was actually the first. He made this performance in 1994 when was war in Croatia. And he took his inspiration from the American film, which was filmed during the Second World War in America, to introduce to wider public in America the fear of rising of Nazism in America. So Tom Gotovac watched that film. Then he had inspiration to make this performance in 1994 on the same place when in 2020 Nina Kamenjanin react and do homage performance to this Tom Gotovac performance.
Maybe I can add something again from my own experiences from past, because I knew, of course, Tom Gotovac very well, and I know the whole circle around Tom. He was, it's very important to know the context in which he was working. First of all, he was one of the fans of American Western movies. You wouldn't be surprised. You would be surprised. But also altogether American movie from the classical period of, let's say, 30s, 40s, 50s, especially 50s maybe, with John Ford and Howard Hawks and so on. So there was the whole group of then younger film theoreticians who was writing about film language, mentioning and admiring all these American classical Western directors, and Tom was one of them. The other thing what I know about Tom is that he was since the really 70s, middle 70s, as I start meeting these people by occasions in the Multimedia Center, where there was programs of experimental films as well, because he was somebody who was doing very much on experimental film in the beginning and was in this crisis. So he was somebody who was always warning about special secret services from America and putting all kinds of ideas that it sounds like impossible, but that was his research in what is really happening deep down in politics, especially America, concerning the whole world. So this is Tom. Tom had many faces. So his performances is somehow, when you see it first time, it's not enough to understand if you don't to know more about his personalities and his whole history. The same as what I said for Marina Abramović. I mean, it's very important to go from, as with most of artists who have reached the age that they had so long life with a lot of activities. It's also important to know her, but also Tomislav mentioned as well Ulay, and Ulay and Marina worked in the beginning together, but later on he continued his own separate performances, and he is really one of the greatest German artists in the sense of performing art and conceptual art. It's very important to say all of them somehow deal also with a certain kind of conceptual art. If Tomislav would agree with that, I'm not sure, but that's my my perception of them. So in that sense, I think we have these certain personalities, the most extreme in a sense what they do. And it's interesting then that you mentioned this younger performer who was trying to redo something what she saw from Tom with a certain context which changed actually, because her context changed, although she, I think, repeated the same, but the context was different time and of course different person and different situation. So maybe you can add a little bit on that, Tom or Tomislav or Diana. Or maybe you have somebody else have more questions before. Okay. Please, Tomislav, have you seen that?
Tomislav, please unmute yourself.
Sorry, yes. Sorry. I just wanted to show another performance from Tom Gotovac, you know, that's quite popular and everybody knows for it from the 80s. But the question I wanted to open is, you know, why in all these performances we see a naked body, you know? And then with Ulay, with Tom, with Nina, Galindo, Nachi, Marina, so all these artists actually use this naked body, you know, to make a statement. And then one interesting thing happened lately, let's say 5-6 years ago, when Ulay was in Rijeka, when he said to a student who wanted to undress himself to make a performance, he said, I wouldn't do it. So Ulay in 2000, let's say 15 or 17, says, I don't want, it's not needed to be naked anymore. So those things are quite interesting. I don't have an answer at least I have, but it's my personal understanding of it. But this naked body is, of course, a shock, a way to provoke the system, the kind of usual morality. Nothing actually special. So you're undressed. You didn't do anything, let's say, aggressive, but you're kind of disturbing a certain morality, certain way of behaving, certain prejudices and all this. So that's why this naked body has a quite strong presence in performance, and many people think that if you want to make a performance, you have to be naked. So that's another topic, but yes, this
I would like to add something to the naked.
Yes, please.
It is a little story, but I think it's very important. He actually, this what you are showing here, going through Zagreb naked. It was in frame of Zagreb Biennale, music Biennale. And I know the television producer who was making documentation of Music Biennale, because in that year, Music Biennale was first time going out of concert halls, and it was all around the city, in many places outside a space. And Tom was somebody who just in that time decided to be naked, and television was making the camera people and producers, they didn't know what they would expect, and they were really making shooting and that was a huge scandal in that time, and I don't remember how much censorship was in the television, but I don't think they ever saw it. They show it in the television. So actually what is stayed is mostly photographs. So which means, I think, I don't know, Tomislav, you can say which year was that exact? I forgot. It was 81. Okay, in 81. So in that time, although the whole hippie era of end of 60s, when everybody was going naked all over the world, in Yugoslavia, in communism, it was something not allowed. So which means by his act, it was specially special act. If he would do it in San Francisco, nobody would look at in that time to him. But you must put in the context of communistic regime that then it was something, especially in such a avant-garde music festival, music biennale, that was very, very revolutionary what he did. So that's my addiction.
I will just, sorry, I have just remarked to Anastasia that Zagreb volante in English means Zagreb, I love you. So that is like homage to our capital.
Well, I'm very happy that Diana and Tomislav put all these three most famous names, or a couple of names, even more. So it's somehow educational somehow, and I hope you will really take the names. I was putting even more on chat, so please take it, and because we will close this part of talk, maybe next time already would be extended on art in open spaces or something like that, Rihanna, right? And then after that we go to other younger performer or younger activists. So we will present in 2-3 weeks following. And then after that, as I said, editing, scripting, filming, and so on, so that we get also in the certain part of beginning of the media, and then we will end on the most latest digital media. So there's somehow historical way of difference what in art was in that sense. And talking about emergency exit, what Tomislav always tried to recall, that we shouldn't forget this emergency exit, or looking for exit. What we especially found necessary after or during the COVID era of pandemic, which was the worldwide pandemic, I would say that certain emergency exit existed, of course, in all periods of history, but in this COVID era, it was really worldwide and expand to digital media. So without digital media, we wouldn't be able to experience the whole range of what is happening. It would be a lot of that for us secrets, not knowing how the other countries reacted to that. So talking to Tomislav and Abramovich and all, they were always somehow breaking the walls and putting steps as emergency exit. Sorry, please.
Anastasia ima pitanje. Anastasia has a question, I think.
Yes.
Anastasia.
Yes, yeah, but before moving on to the next subject, like what was the main statement Tom wanted to make? Like the main statement, it was like on the basic stuff, like the people thinking about this kind of act as bad, and he wanted to change that, or it was more anti-communist or something?
I would say provocation. Provocation, and also this is actually all what he did was political statement. So political statement in the sense that through his body, he was provoking a system which didn't allow certain activities. So naked body was like somebody is complete naked and there is nothing left to see. And so his provocation is starting from the naked body to things that was not allowed to do in a sense. But I would say, like in any art pieces, of whether it's performance or any other, interpretations are different. For you, for your generation, for you who came from certain different political system and maybe not having this historical overview, you should make your own interpretation, I would say. Whenever you see a piece of art, you don't have to agree, you don't have to like it. This is very important. Nothing who became well known and with whatever it is, so it's not necessary that you like it, but try always to find backgrounds, and after that make your own interpretation. Maybe you find something for yourself what it could mean for you, you know. So it's very difficult to give an answer if you don't know the whole context, in which period, in which political system, in which country was certain activities done. Like Abramovich is doing now whole world during the performances in all world. He's not anymore specific Serbian artist. He became international artist. But still her background is good to know, to understand the process, how she came to that, for example. And the same is with Tom Gotovac, who died like 10 years ago, and with his 80, which means he's kind of already went through very different political system, and he was political artist.
Yes, if I can add something. So it was a kind of breakthrough in the sense of freedom, you know, searching for a freedom in the society. But last time we also mentioned two types of art. Let's say how Boris Groys explained it. That's the book I sent to you. We sent to you this Art Power. So you can, I don't know which chapter, but you can find in it this division between two let's say big groups of artworks. The one he calls commodity, so art that kind of it's not responsible, let's say, to context, but it's more dealing with the inner formal problems, and orientated towards a kind of world of art and selling actually art as a commodity. And then he said there is this political pamphlet or kind of engaged art that is more a kind of political statement. And the funny thing, or the very interesting thing, is that all these performance, let's say, works, naked body is almost always engaged. So there is a reason why it's done. And then speaking about Marina and Ulay, they also were kind of pushing the body to the limits, kind of endurement. So this works where she's, I don't know, she puts her body in the front of the public and everybody can do something to her, or I don't know, they go for hours somewhere, or they were turning this car for hours in a circle. So many performances where they are pushing, even putting this body in danger. Where this performance where Ula is holding an arrow and she's holding the arch, and they are kind of putting this arch in a kind of very lethal situation where somebody could get actually killed. So this is the performance we know from history of art. So I personally believe that it came to an end, that today you can't push it further anymore. We saw blood, we saw cutting of veins, we saw even suicide as performative act. So so that's why Inga mentioned before a conceptual area, because the conceptual art came to an end when you come to a kind of empty paper or empty wall, empty space. You want to show actually content. So that's my main, let's say, idea and concern, that now we came to a phase where the content is naked. The content is naked. So the question is how to present a naked content, let's say, in this digital world. So that's something we were talking about with Nina. She's not present here today, but last time one student very brilliantly kind of pinpoint this problem, where what's going on with art, where it's headed, what's the future of art actually, if everything shifts to an immaterial space. So those are questions we can all the time we can come back to them, but we're gonna explore more media stuff to understand how we can express ourselves. But the question remains how to act as an artist today in the 21st century, where we are kind of confronted with the powerful algorithm and powerful artificial intelligence. So what happens with our artistic form and expression? So this is my kind of thought about this body in relation to the contemporary context. So that's something you can further explore, this performative body in the space. There are many other artists in the world who use the body and still doing it, in all the countries. So if somebody wants to go further with performance, he can. It's not that we are kind of encouraging any other media, but that's just one reflection concerning material and immaterial space. Inge, thank you. Please continue.
I'm waiting if somebody reacts.
It depends.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
you're welcome. So it depends on your affinities. If somebody really is interested in performance, he can dig in. He can make an essay, maybe a document, and then put some links, and then he can help us also to understand better, this area. But because we have 10 more courses, so we can't actually stay much longer on a certain topic. We try to cover many artistic areas. So next time, maybe again about space, but then we shift to media, scenography. And Inge, please take it over from me. Otherwise, I'm going to talk too much.
Well, we recorded the beginning, actually not what I have said, but starting with Diana. If somebody have interest, we can send a link to recorded video today. I can only somehow close this.
Sorry, Inga. I think that Anastasia have a presentation about herself. Just
okay. So
short presentation from Anastasia to us.
Okay, so I haven't been last time, and I'm very much looking forward at least to see Anastasia's presentation for all of us. So Anastasia, it's your word now.
Thank you. I didn't make it, but I wrote it down. I can talk about myself a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am 20 years old, and I really love art. I engage with it in a young age. Usually, I was a bit more creative. I didn't really draw draw, but when I was 17, I started drawing more actively and getting to know different materials. Now I make jewelry with silver and copper, and because we are saying to how to make like a statement, jewelry is a really common piece of art. You can make a statement, but not everybody has to understand what the piece has to mean. For example, every culture has its own wants to express themselves through their jewelry and accessories. And I'm trying to find my way into art and my artistic style.
Did you finish your secondary school and started to studying?
Okay, thank you. But what are you are studying at academy, or what is your faculty?
In Cyprus, I study sociology.
Okay, thank you.
You studied 1-2 years and you finished, or you're still studying?
Thank you. I have one more year. Yeah.
So you want
It's 4 years in Cyprus, and I'm now in the third year.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a wish to combine your practical artistic work with your scientific theoretical, or you are dividing these two things? Please, without image, because we don't hear you then in the continuity. Okay, maybe now it's better. Can you repeat?
Find a way to combine them. Yeah, I'm trying to find a way to combine them because art and sociology can be combined, but in a practical way, it's more difficult. Yes, so I'm trying to find a way to connect them somehow.
Okay. You have some time to develop or to rethink how to go on. Well, thank you very much. That's interesting that we have somebody from both areas. Maybe next time we see your work and written or your practical jewelry work.
Yeah.
And then we can discuss more on that. Okay.
We have also a colleague, who was working in Rijeka, Nenad Roban, who I saw many performative photos and acts actually where he's using jewelry. So not jewelry only as a form, but jewelry as a performative element, where you dress it, you carry it in a certain way, you film it in a certain context. So you can go with jewelry beyond the jewel itself. You can push it towards more performative area. So I would suggest maybe that type of thinking, you know, how to expand the reach of this jewelry, not to stay only on a form of this jewelry, but to activate this jewelry in a social space, let's say. So I think there is a lot of possibilities how to upgrade, let's say, this area you're dealing with.
I put all the names that somebody is
Yes.
mentioning. So I put your Droban name, and when you put the name in Google, you can find variety of his work. He's a professor. He was professor also at the Academy of Applied Arts. And what Tomislav is mentioning, he was working with his students on teaching jewelry, but in a way that combined with the performance, and they had really made incredible, strange objects, huge body, fashion, and so on. But also he is really famous by his very classical way of making jewelry. So he's artist and was professor, and also what Tomislav said. So very good that you mentioned him, because he's really bringing these boundaries further to jewelry as a performative art. So just put his name and you will see the variety of images at Academy.
Maybe she can. Yes, maybe we can even contact him and ask him to send you materials, you know, from his experience with students. So he has a lot of photos. He might be useful. You know, we can give you his contact, and so you can receive an expertise from somebody who's really in that area. You know.
Yes, of course, because I don't have a lot of connections, and I don't really know how to connect this piece of art, because it's more difficult than a performative or a theater or like it's more, because usually people think about jewelry and think only styling and that kind of they have that kind of impressed on jewelry, so it's hard to make a statement with the jewelry, the statement that I want to do, not just for styling and you know, business stuff. And yes.
So if you go on the page of Academy of Applied Arts,
I have sent his Gmail address already.
Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, you can find his official address on the pages of the Academy, but this one is good, of course.
Okay, yeah. Marco.
Okay, thank you so much.
Marco Marvos is with us. He was sending something. I'm just checking. Marco, you are with us. What did you send on email?
Yeah, I had some difficulties to join this conversation. Unfortunately, I couldn't access it in the beginning because I was at faculty.
Okay, that's no problem. We know that, unfortunately, that you have half an hour. I thought only maybe you sent some link, bad gateway or something.
Yeah, I just had difficulties, so
you just showed it. Okay, it's nothing for us to do.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Well, you came later, unfortunately, but do you have any question about performative art? Is there any interest of yours or not at all? Or do you think your work could be connected through what we know you do, this artificial intelligence, digital media, VR, and so on? Do you have some thoughts or questions about the performative art in this area, if you're already here?
Well, I didn't think in that way. I'm more of a like purely digital, but I can see, you know, some digital performances of like putting virtual people doing something. I don't know if that count as a performance, but sure. That could maybe be interesting to me.
But sure, if you find something, you know, in virtual reality or something that you can connect to your interest, which actually expand this body in life to this digital body, as I said, look at a little bit of our chat. We put some names, maybe through these names you can see work. For example, there is this video of Marina Abramovic. So look at that when she put herself in the virtual space as her eternal life in metaverse. So this is something as a concept. It is realized through the certain VR project. So he is expanding her performance, but it's something that it's not bad for you also to get a little bit introduced to this kind of work, maybe for whatever future for your work. So just look at chats and get some names that we put in, and you can find easily certain things. And Tomislav, this from Marina Abramovic link of video you have in chat as well, isn't it, Tomislav?
Yes, I put it in chat.
Yeah, it's also in chat. Okay.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't have anything in chat because I joined late.
Ah,
We
really?
will send it,
Oh, that's strange. I thought that the chat is always open. Okay.
You're
Yeah.
punished. You're
Okay,
punished.
we can send all the names, and
Yes,
that's
yes.
a good task. I will just make copy of all the names and all the links that I have in chat, and then I send all of you later. So maybe also for others who didn't participate today. And we are now also recording, so maybe we can also send a recorded part so that those who couldn't join us today maybe can follow in the next one. Okay, is there any more questions? Otherwise, we can slowly end our meeting today. Any questions, any wishes maybe? Maybe you have some idea that we didn't yet announce. As we said, we will invite people during these meetings on Thursday. Altogether, we have 13 meetings. Today is the 3rd, which means 10 more. And then we will have invited people due to their possibility to come on Thursday. So let's put it as surprise, but continuing next time on one segment of performance in public space or art in public space, art, I would say more, and then later, as I said, and production, post-production in the frame of emergency exit, and so on.
Yes, because maybe it's unclear to students where we are headed to, what we are doing, why we are talking about all this.
We are looking exit.
So what's the goal? No, yes, but so my suggestion is that you have all this in mind through all this time, and then try to make some research yourself, because if you don't do extra work from this starting point, then it's too little. It's too little to explain the whole history of everything in 10 times. So I suggest to try to understand, why we are talking about those topics, and then to try to understand what you are doing in relation to those topics. Actually, what you're doing at all as an artist, So in that sense, I would suggest to maybe make some to write down some ideas, to make some research, to write down some links, make some sketches, put ideas on paper. So that's the work you should do as a student of art, because otherwise it won't happen. We don't have a recipe, what you should do.
But maybe not bad to mention,
Yes.
which we didn't mention, that on the end of the semester, each of you would have possibility to give your own, like in the last emergency exit, again here, a certain kind of exam, which is not exam in a direct sense, but actually your presentation of one concrete project that you are suggested to fulfill till the end of the year, next year, next semester. So that you give a presentation of the end of the semester, and then we try to realize in the frame of exhibition, text, whatever media we found. So I always like.
Because here, yes, Inge, thank you for this, because this is a very difficult task actually, because we don't have a task, so it's not a, let's say, painting class where you have a canvas and colors and then you're expected to paint something. So here we are going from the opposite direction. So we are trying to think about things and then to find an appropriate media and to make an appropriate form. So it's very difficult, even for, let's say, for me, it's very difficult sometimes to react to a certain theme. So you're having a theme, an open call, and then you have to react to it. So it's not easy, because
it's a process. We have a process of.
It's a process, but
of next 10 times
yes,
at least.
Maybe some side ideas will happen. Something you think doesn't belong to this course, but maybe it belongs because it happened while thinking about certain things that we were talking about here. So that's our goal, to open possibilities.
And of course, each of you on the basis of your own interest. So you don't have to go in the area that you don't understand. These lectures are more to get informed in the variety of subjects and follow your own interest. And then on the basis of this knowledge and what you experience, maybe concrete on the end to have concrete.
Just one more very important, I think, thing deriving from performative experience and talking with Ule, talking with people who are doing it. So how a performance happens, you have a very clear idea about the thing you're going to do. You don't rehearse, you prepare yourself, but then you do it. So it's not theater, it's not making 10 rehearsals and how I'm going to sing, how I'm going to dance, how I'm going to walk. So it's a concentration, it's a very very precise idea, then you do it. That's something that said to Marco, to you, it's also maybe important while approaching a digital media. Okay, am I digital because I like digital, or is digital appropriate media to my idea? So what's your idea? In that sense, that's something that's very important for performers, because all these people who were doing it had a very clear idea where, what, and how. So it was not the kind of, it happened. No, it didn't happen. It happened, but they did it, they did it. So although it seems simple and easy, performance is one of the most difficult media that exists, because everything becomes a message, even a move a small finger. So that's something that I learned from Boris Bakal and Katarina Pejovic. They say, they stand in front of us and then they move the small finger. They said, this is performance. So moving a small finger is a performance. It's a performative act because there is a gesture. You said something. So that's why it's difficult, because it easily becomes pathetic. And then when we're talking about pathetics, then we come to video and pathetic while making some video or acting or whatever. But that's something that Inga is going to explain better next time. So it's quite important to understand that art has to have a clear idea before becoming. So that's maybe the message deriving from these performances we were looking today. Sorry for my small expose, but
okay.
I thought
I'm preparing already all the links. So
yes.
Everybody will get links and names.
Now you can stop, Inga, with the now it's over. You can say goodbye.
Okay, good. Then if this is end, then please come next Thursday. I know that for Marco is complicated. Maybe we can start like 10-15 minutes later so that you catch at least later 15 minutes. I will send all the rest who haven't been today. Really, I would like that everybody participate, because otherwise the whole continuity is missing certain parts. So thanks for your coming and your interest, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.